Hello everyone, welcome to what's essentially a Bleed 2 tutorial for basically everything for the upcoming Bleed 2 Beginner Story New Game Normal Tournament. My name is Jackets, and we're going to go over a full speedrun of this game and go over essentially any kind of tips, tricks, or strategies that you can be using for your own pleasure or to win this. So, let's go ahead and get into a story new game normal run. I did click on assault there. Let's get into it. So first of all, of course, since it is a new game category, we're going to skip this cutscene by clicking the mouse or pressing space or RT or whatever you have as your jump button. And you want to be dashing as much as you possibly can. Of course, during this run, we have equipped our pistols, our katana, and our dual pistols. Of course, this mini-boss is not really any problem. You can reflect it earlier than that, I'm just not used to the timing. S-Room, you can get through that in 3 dashes. This boss, you want to slow down time when he's hitting the floor, like this. So you skip his little laughing animation. I did hold space there so I could jump at the first frame, but that's... I don't usually do that, honestly. Blast Jumper, what you want to do is get all the reflex in that you can. Slowing down time is very, very handy, especially when you're starting out. This is one of the attacks that we just don't want, because he's staying off screen for a long, long time. That was a little risky. At the end of Blast Jumper, you want to stay running to the right side of the screen, and then you want to jump or jump dash so that you can move a little bit forward while the cutscene basically starts. This section is just, you can't do really anything to speed it up other than kill them faster, which essentially happens already. For the ones that spawn in twice at a time, the katana does work to kill both of them. But most of them, yeah, it's just normal stuff. Now there was also a skip for Shield Invader at the very start of the level, where you can actually lure a bullet using slow motion, but it is really, really hard to pull off, especially in a racing scenario, and it only saves 4 seconds. For Miracore, really the only thing that I want to cover is his dashing attack, which we didn't actually get in this fight. But if he dashes near like the end of his health bar, you do not want to make that reflect. And of course, I'm going to be skipping all level clear cutscenes, and once the music starts, I'm going to start mashing escape or start. But yeah, if you kill Miracore with a dash reflect, then he will actually pause off screen for like 4 seconds or something before he actually starts bouncing back into view. And along with that, if you are able to kill him while he's closer to the left side of the screen, that is a bit faster. I have seen arguments where the missile reflect on this boss is slower, but I don't know. It seems like it's roughly the same, especially in New Game. In Freestyle, that might be slower depending on how long he's off screen and how much damage we can deal with white. But of course, this is a New Game run and my game is freezing. But yeah, if you hold jump at the end of that last section before the black screen fades transitions into this area, then you can actually jump at the first frame and have a dash already ready to start. And more game freezes. That happens occasionally when I've got OBS running, so that's no problem. At least for racing. For spinning runs, that may be an issue. For this, you can actually reflect it instantly. You don't have to wait on the missile to actually come out. And if you do reflect it frame perfect, I think, the little target in the top screen will just stay there for a little while. And then I did the other jump buffer for the second black screen there as well. Valentine, there's not really much that you can do other than making sure to not get hit here. And not dying on this sort of section. Again, more freezes. That's really odd. Sometimes when I play, it gets freezy at the start on like the first few runs, and then after like an hour or two, it starts stabilizing. So I don't know what's up with that. I think it might just be my computer being, or laptop being bad. Also, what I just did there with Katana is very, very good for doing AoE damage. Area of effect damage is really easy when you have such a gigantic hitbox. It's like that big. Cars are definitely one of the hardest attacks to avoid, considering their like timing and their positioning on that. Of course, skipping cutscenes is very good. For a lot of that, when I was like dashing into Valentine, I haven't even actually tested if that is faster or not, but it seems like the bullets take time to travel, and when Rin gets closer to her, they have less time to travel, so more damage, question mark? Science? I don't know. Another one of those sections where you just have to live until the next thing happens. Killing these guys might advance it faster, we don't know. Haven't mathed it. We haven't mathed a lot of things out for this game. Mathing, imagine. Red Sprite here is really kind of tricky, but the main part when she gets tricky is when she actually goes to the right side of the screen. Since this is normal difficulty, the birds don't actually fly around, so they're a lot more tricky to avoid when you're focusing on Red Sprite. So I might even recommend, if you do have trouble with this fight, focus on the birds so you don't get hit. Dying in basically any level when you're in the middle of a boss fight is definitely something you want to be avoiding. Seems like these sections are in a lot of places, but this one, it's just kill all the things before they move off screen so that the thing ends faster. I shouldn't have slowed down time for that, but that's fine. It's not like it saves that much time to not slow motion. In fact, I should use it more. Okay. I do see a lot of people who are not actually shooting Ninja while he's going in for the reflect. Now, for people on controllers, a really good thing to notice is that you can actually press RB to reflect while you're shooting. So that makes things a lot easier if you are playing on controller. Now for this fight, normally, if you're just using the pistols, you have to wait. Again, using the fire when he's shooting. This is one of the only bosses in the game that can use multiple of the same attack in a row. But you can also use Katana. That Katana flurry, if you stand right here, on top of the black line here, then you can actually hit the ninja while he's in that phase. But he does move really, really fast, especially when he does the ground swipe up attack. So be sure to try to use slow motion in that fight if you are attempting to do that. But using slow motion in that attack itself can save upwards to like 14, 20, even 30 seconds. So if you are wanting an extremely high lead, be sure to practice Ninja. But even I take some damage when he does the swipe attack occasionally, because it is pretty hard to avoid. Even in normal, it doesn't give you much time to see it coming, but the attacks are actually shown off by Ninja's stance when he fires his katana. Here you want to actually stay as low as the ground as you can, or as low to the screen as you can, so that Rin's not taking forever to fall down all the way from the top. Another cutscene skip here, and you actually spawn in midair. So I'm going to hold D and get an immediate dash as soon as the level starts. Of course, I am playing on keyboard, so controller movements are a little bit different. But for most of this fight, you really just want to be making sure that you can actually hit the boss rather than the chaff coming out. So katana is a really good way to clear off some of the dirt. There we go. For that attack that you want, you really want to reflect both of them at a different frame. So if you do slow down time to hit both, you want to be hitting one and then the other, because that'll deal essentially double damage of just reflecting one or reflecting both on the same frame. And of course you do, as always, want to make sure that they move before you actually reflect them. This is another area where katana is really, really good, especially when you're dealing with these doors at the end. But in that auto-scroller, you really do not want to be taking damage. Taking damage, especially when you're at a high camera speed, or fast speed of the auto-scroller moving, that does not keep that camera at the same movement. It actually slows it down quite a bit. So if you do get hit and then you get hit again, the camera essentially goes back to the speed of 0 at the start. So you definitely want to avoid taking any kind of damage in that section. Of course, guppy reflex are very nice. One thing I haven't really covered is that you can actually do a strategy called slash shooting, which is slashing between every third or fourth bullet. And I was not doing it there, though. It looks more like that or something like that. The only reason why I don't really recommend it is because it is very, 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 very hard to get the timing down when you're not slowing down time. If you are able to, and it's almost nearly impossible to do on a controller as well. I'm gonna let these guys go. They can actually hit you when they're going down, so be sure you are aware of that. Also, I did pause in the chase, so that is why my time is so slow there. Pausing in this game does, especially in a race, does impact your time. And all these runs will be in real time. So pauses do definitely count toward your run, or against your run, rather. Yeah, white, the katana can go through his shield, which is very handy. And those reflects are super duper important against Bunny. For white, I would not reflect the shield. If you want the most amount of damage, you want white to go and grab his shield rather than obtaining it, because when he spins it around, you actually can't shoot through it. You can just shoot in the momentary time where the shield is open when he's spinning it around super quickly. So you can actually do more damage if you lure the shield away from white until you can just shoot him on the way back out. Here, you can dash through that platform. It's really, really nice to do. Slowing down time is a lot faster than going level by level. And now we've got segment slider, which a lot of people seem to have a bunch of trouble on, especially on controller where you can't do these immediate sideways dashes. Of course, katana can be used in this slot if your computer doesn't freeze. But let's see if we can get that better. Yeah, you can do that. Oh, okay. But essentially you want to be squeezing your bullets inside of the little space when the bullets fire out. Like right there. Essentially what you want to be aiming for usually is like a 4 to 5 cycle-ish. It can be done in like 3 to 4, or possibly 2 to 3 if you're using the katana strats, but again, that's extremely risky, especially in a beginner scenario, where you're just getting around with the movement and that kind of thing. You may have recognized this is in zero gravity, so we can actually infinitely dash here. This is another big boss where the slash shooting would be good, but it probably isn't worth it. For the wall reflex, you really do want to reflect that as quickly as possible without leaving your damage on the boss. So you want to be shooting him, and then bam, and then shooting him. This, if you stay between these two gray areas, you can actually get a tiny bit of chip damage on him. Depending on how close you are, you may get a little bit more. But if you, it is just if you stay between, that's probably the fastest you can go, or furthest you can go. This next section, I will be showing off a good way to die, because I'm at low health. Especially in this kind of speedrun, you do not want to be dying in the middle of a boss fight. That is your biggest waste of time that you can ever have. This, whenever he dashes yellow, he will immediately dash purple. And the second that he does, you can actually reflect him immediately. Again, as opposed to most boss attacks in the game. Okay. Instant kills, especially in this graveyard section, it is a very good idea to die before the section begins because, oh my gosh, I've seen so many races where they get through right to the end of this section, and then they end up getting hit by something clumsy, or something like that. So dying before this section, if you're at like anything below, say, 3 health, like right here or something like that, it might be a good idea to just take one. Now, for this boss, there are a lot of different attacks. I'm probably not going to get every single one, but this is the one that you're looking for. You really want to see a chain chomp with a purple glow. For Shark here, you can actually hit it with the katana if you're just standing lower. And the missiles, if you do end up getting these are likely the worst attack to get, but you definitely want to reflect them all, because otherwise you're just not getting any damage out of it. But also, if you end up reflecting the chain chomp, then katana is a really good way to destroy all the pellets, while also dealing damage to the boss itself, when it's in that explosive thing. It's explosive section there. And that's the level. Hardest level in the game for sure is right there. Save for maybe the final level, which a lot of folks seem to have trouble against the rival. So, we'll be showing off a few maneuvers. Oh no, I can't believe I'm holding the A button for some reason. Okay. Anyway, in this fight, you deal damage to Valentine by shooting her in the face. That's it. There's not really much else to this fight. Anything she can shoot at you that's reflectable, you definitely want to smack that back. But yeah, aiming at Valentine is probably the most important thing to do, because if you can hit all of your shots, you're moving a lot faster than person shooting over here or anywhere that's not on the boss's body. Of course, for those, you can slow down time if you're in a bad spot. And this one, I would maybe recommend that too, if you don't have very good reaction speed. These you can just walk forward and die. Yeah, the reason why I was taking damage is after this phase, you can actually skip roughly 12 seconds by dying at the right time. You know that cutscene that comes up with Valentine when she taunts and then somebody throws a tomato at her? Yeah, you can kind of skip that whole thing. It's great. Okay, this you want to reflect. If you can actually reflect it as late as you possibly can. and then that gives you some extra damage. One other thing to note is that you can skip this laser attack, though it is a lot slower to do than just shooting her and moving on to the next attack. So here I'm going to continue on dying, and I actually have to take a lot of health, but the second that she raises off the ground there, you can actually just immediately die. But make sure not to die too early, as this will restart. If it's before she leaves the ground, it'll actually restart the third phase of the entire fight. So you definitely don't want that, as that's like a minute time loss. And of course, if you are wanting to pause to see when I am timing this, it has to deal with the amount of damage that you do, not necessarily the like frame or time frame or whatever. You want to do it during the section of the fight where she's at like this amount of health and then at like this amount of health. Then you can finish off the little bit that's left, and the taunt should hit her by that point. Sadly, I don't really have any way to tell that based on like the game background or anything like that, but once you get the positioning on it, you'll know what's happening. This cutscene can be skipped. You just have to click before like epilogue comes in or during that, and you can just skip it entirely. Mantis really just has one trick that I'd like to cover, and that is when he's doing his big smash attack. When you want the body slam. But I don't know if he's going to do that. Katana's an okay idea there. I don't know if it actually can deal more damage than pistols can, but... So when he does smash down on you, you don't even have to move. And if it is yellow, you can move to the side a little bit, and then still get a tiny amount of damage with the Katana Flurry there. For this, you can do it in 2 cycles. Maybe 3. And then skip the laser. Again, rockets can be a pain in that area, but just make sure that you are slowing down time. Maybe stop once for the laser if you can't make it. But, of course, taking any kind of damage and being in a bad spot for a later fight is probably not recommended. One of the tips in this fight is that when he laughs, you want to be going over him, because that is when he actually shoots out the mines. And something that is rarely ever happening, but does from time to time, if you can kill him while he's going off screen in that fight, that'll actually save the time from him having to fall all the way down. Instead, he'll just go further off screen and then immediately go onto the missile. Spider Core here, you really have to watch out for these giant missiles that come out. And if they do, you cannot actually fire them back immediately. You do have to wait until they do start moving. And then staying low here, just like Rex Rocket's fight, it allows you to skip the cutscene of Rin falling down. This one you can just dash, and Katana does a very, very good job of clearing out the blocks. Here, as some people may have seen or noticed before, you can actually move straight backwards and have Rin actually destroy the blocks behind her as she moves. But you really do want to be fighting or shooting at the red centerpiece the most. That was pretty bad. As far as block placement go, that was some of the worst. Oh god. Okay. Yeah, just be wary of where the missiles are firing. You'll notice that there's like a shine on each level when he's trying to fire the missiles, or the lasers. So keep an eye out for that. Rival. Rival's got 2 health bars, as you may know. The best attacks that you can actually get are the tennis match, the pistols, followed by the kick, as well as the giant missile in the center. Or giant missile in general. Yeah, anytime he does that little arcing pistol attack, he will end up following it up with a kick. Whether that is reflectable or not is up to RNG. If you're at low health, I would not recommend to shoot as his katana, because he does actually reflect your bullets. And that's the rival. And time. There. Like, a few seconds after I said it. But that is the full run. I'm going to skip the credits here by pressing escape or start on a controller. And I'll go right back onto the main menu. Okay, so let's see if we can do the Shield Invader skip now. Again, it is a really risky strategy to do, especially when it comes to wasting time in a racing scenario, but there we go. So we got it this time. Also, aiming that on a controller is really, really rough, because as you saw, my mouse was not really just connected or aiming at him. I had to position myself in a certain place so that I actually could aim at him. And of course, we got a pretty rough rolling invader. But that's about it. If you enjoyed, subscribe for more and follow me on Twitch. I stream usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays between 10 o'clock a.m. Central and like 4 p.m. or like 3:45. So check it out. We will see you guys around, and you'll have a good one.